Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our scholarly examination of Epic Illustrated Magazine. We're up to number 33, the December 1985 issue. This beautiful cover by Phil Hale. Phil Hale was kind of an Epic Illustrated discovery. A few issues ago, we saw his first story, probably anywhere. This is his first color work inside and the cover. It's Johnny Badhair, some character he created. I really like this. Just fun, crazy stuff. Kind of reminds me of Ranzerox, but not as over the top. I guess Moretta the She-Wolf's getting her own graphic novel in color. She graduated from Epic Illustrated Magazine. Got the overview. Oh, so I forgot to mention, this is the penultimate issue of Epic Illustrated. In the overview, they announce that next issue, number 34, is going to be the last issue of Epic. Believe me, when I must have been 17 at the time, I was reading that, and I almost cried. It was the day the comics died for me. It was just reading this, I got sad. I was like, why didn't Epic go on? But, so savor these last two videos. That's it for Epic Illustrated. I still miss Epic. We start off with the latest chapter of the last Galactus story, Chapter 8. John Byrne writing and penciling, Terry Austin inking. Last issue we saw Galactus landed on this planet. All these aliens, I guess, know of him. They're like, it's the devourer of worlds. And Galactus finds not really much about... He finds out about how someone moved all these planets there, basically to save them from his hunger. So at some point, some cosmic being took all the stars and planets, shoved them in a corner of the universe to kind of hide them from Galactus. It's really dumb. I'm sorry, I don't really care. Nova's in this spaceship that is like 1 billion miles across. It's just unfathomable. And in the center, she finds a black hole. So this issue's we get 2 Dr. Watchstop stories. Once again, Ken Macklin, beautiful painting. Nice sci-fi concepts usually, but, whatever. They're usually goofy gags. And this one is a very dumb gag. But it's just nice to look at this beautiful art here. Looks so nice. Except for the way he draws the characters, like I've said. I don't like... They look really stupid. I should mention that one was called Reaching Out, and the second story is called Beating the Heat. Another silly gag. A cute little guy. So Tim Conrad has a little portfolio here. I think this is actually a portfolio he put out. So he gave Epic the rights to reproduce it. So he could sell a few more copies. It's called The Elements. Air, fire, earth, water, But all tied in with Greek mythology. Pretty nice paintings. And apparently there's lots of symbolism in each of them, taking things from myth. There's fire, earth. And this one's kind of scary. It's water. It's the sirens luring men to their deaths. Pretty spooky. And then we get 2 Kent Williams stories. So I have a feeling Epic Illustrated had all this shit in inventory and was like, shit, we got 2 issues. So, you know, they were probably going to space these out, but they don't have time anymore. So this is a Kent Williams with a little help from Lynn Parrish, adapting a Brothers Grimm story, Briar Rose. And this is basically, you know, the Sleeping Beauty story, but the more raw primal version of it. So you know that whole thing. These are the fairies that get invited to the wedding. Really creepy looking. I never really thought of fairies as this. This is that 13th fairy that they didn't invite, that they offended, who puts the curse on Briar Rose. Beautiful painting here. It's amazing how we've seen Kent Williams progress in, like, I don't know, what, 8, maybe 10 issues at the most. He first appeared here. And just almost every issue, or at least every other issue, has had a Kent Williams story. So we've seen a lot of his work. Really nice stuff. Just full-on oil painting. Beautiful. But, you know, it's just the story of Sleeping Beauty. Here we have, finally, the last chapter of Toadswart to Amplestone by Tim A. Conrad. And last we left off, the golem was chasing Toadswart. And Toadswart had to get through this flooded chamber, trying to escape Golem. So, man, I love the way he does the Golem. So scary. The Golem captures him. And while he's flailing, Toadswart rips off his Star of David that's chained around his neck. And it basically sucks the life out of the Golem, turns him back into an inanimate hunk of stone. But it falls right on him. And he's thinking to himself, God damn it, I finally figured out a way to kill the Golem, and the secret's gonna, you know, die with me, because he's gonna drown in the shallow water. But then at the last minute, Sham Shadow, the artist, shows up and rescues Toadswart. They've got the princess. They're gonna, you know, take her away from this horrible Amplestone place, along with Father Pretense, the priest. So this continues. Let's see where it goes. Here we go. And then Waxroth shows up. And he's full-on Doctor Strange mode now. He did something in his chambers where he has, like, amazing sorceress powers. But he's also fucking insane. And these guys look up in fear with a little thing of his hand, whatever that is. He blows away the priest, Father Pretense. And then Sham Shadow remembers the little silver blade that Lacanose, the wizard, gave him before his death. And he throws it at Waxroth, and it kills him. That's pretty nuts looking. I don't know if that's like his necronic magic energy dissipating or what that's supposed to be, but it's pretty effective. And Waxroth falls to his death. I like that kind of sequence of panels where the background stays the same and the character moves through it, as practiced by guys like Paul Galassi and Gene Day. Certain artists do that a lot. I always love that effect. And then Rupert, the prince's son, who was supposedly dead, shows up. And there's an old beggar-like guy behind him in the shadows. And when he comes out, they realize it's the old lord of the castle, who's been missing since before the events of the first chapter of this graphic novel. Look at that great drawing of Sham Shadow there. So good. And I guess the whole thing of Prince Rupert dying, or whatever you call the son of a prince, double prince, it was just some like local wait kid who was dying of the consumption anyway. And it turns out the lord of the castle, Waxhawk's father, he's been kind of on a spiritual mission. It's kind of vague, but he implies that he had to leave to save his own soul. And as he holds his son in his arms, his dead son, he's just like kind of regrets that he made the wrong choice. He went to the darkness instead of the light. And thus ends the tale of Toadswart de Amplestone. So this is kind of interesting. We have a story written by Mike Barron of Nexus and Badger fame, and The Punisher, and many other things. And it's drawn by John Totleben, who I don't think has ever been in Epic. You know, his Kubert School cohorts were all over this comic, you know, like Veitch and Bissett and even Tom Yeats. But this is the first time he's in it. And this was rare at the time to get to see John Totleben penciling and inking. He was pretty much known as just as the inker of Steve Bissett on Swamp Thing. It's pretty much all he did. But there's really nice pencils. I wish the printing was a little better. It seems like it's a little muddled. The coloring and the art. It's a little too dark. But what you can see is very nice. This is called Fish Story. I love that psychedelic logo. That looks like something from an old underground comic. So apparently something deep down in the ocean in this trench has been just something's down there, or something's going on in this trench where like 2 submarines have been lost. It takes place slightly in the future, this comic. 1999 at the time was the future. And, you know, it's for an oil company. They want to drill for oil at the ocean's floor. They keep disappearing. And this one guy realizes that something's probably down there. And he talks about how, you know, every few years, I mean, you've seen this. Fishermen capture fish that are supposed to be dead for a millennia. Extinct. Giant, weird fish. But they're somehow down at the bottom of the ocean floor. There's still weird creatures that we probably haven't even discovered yet. So he suspects that. He makes an even better sub, a really good sub. And I like this sequence here, the way the panels flow, following the sub, the descending sub. And when they finally turn on the lights, because all of a sudden it's like ink fills the water, but they don't see any sign of life anywhere. And this is why, look at this fucking 2-page spread. It's amazing. You probably can't see, but that's the sub right there, like a moat in this giant squid's eye. It's basically the whole trench is an octopus. That's something else. So basically they report back to their corporate overlords and just say, nah, it's just the drilling's not going to work here. That's why the subs were lost. The walls of the trench, you know, were too unstable. So you're going to have to look somewhere else. And then as they leave the office, the corporate office, they're like, want to find out what a giant squid eats? You couldn't keep me away. Because these guys are scientists, you know. They could give 2 shits about finding more oil, making more money. Oh, this is a nice treat. It's a nice little P. Craig Russell story. Script by Patrick Mason, his longtime collaborator. And lettering by Bill Pearson, his longtime collaborator. I usually don't talk about lettering much, but Bill Pearson, he just does stuff every now and then. He used to do Concrete, that black and white comic. Certain artists get him for work. He did a lot of stuff with Wally Wood, which this story is dedicated to. Wally Wood had just, I think, recently died. And this is just a story about some kind of dreamer kid. And he's kind of shut in. I don't know if he has an illness or something. He's quarantined, but it seems like he's perfectly content living in this shuttered up house, letting his mind wander through books and his imagination, And they show all this, him living out his fantasy, well, not living them out, but reveling in his imagination and ignoring the real world. Oh, it's just really nice P. Greg Russell stuff. And of course the colors. He almost always does his own colors, P. Greg Russell. And in his revelry, I don't know, the statue comes to life of a beautiful woman. It's very poetic, this thing. It's not very, narrative. And it's this amazing, passionate love between them. But then she floats away towards the sun. Really nice stuff. And then I guess he realizes he's got to come down to reality sometime. And all the vibrant, beautiful colors we've seen, now this is reality. And it's just, kind of gray. And he's thinking to himself, like, why did she waken me? Why did I ever have to know, about reality? And this woman, and notices her presence are colorful. It's the only dashes of color in this sequence. She bumps into him and he drops his book. He doesn't even notice. And he's just wallowing in self-pity. Why is the real prison so free of gates and bars and doors, so free of dreams? But then we see her, almost like some wispy angel, almost floating towards him to return his book. Kind of implying that, like, he's going to find out that, yeah, sometimes reality can be really great. That they're going to meet and maybe have something good. Or not. But I like that little tenuous ending. Just look at this background. Usually P. Greg Russell is always drawing these rounded, organic shapes, like these weird ancient castles. But drawing reality, he's just as good at it. Totally different, everything's angular, geometric shapes. I love the backgrounds in that panel. Even just the street lights here and the electrical lines. Really nice stuff. P. Greg Russell. Love that man. If only he'd love me back. So here we have a second Kent Williams story. Like I said, they're cleaning out the inventory. And this one's called Snowmen. We see this little hut. All these, they're kind of like abominable snowmen, but they use swords. So they're like thinking abominable snowmen Yeti. And one by one, they keep trying to infiltrate this house. And every time you hear blam, and another Yeti is down. So they keep trying. They're like reaching for the sword with the stick. They don't want to get shot. This is a nice page. I just like all that negative space. Great logo. Beautiful painting. This one's the watercolor this time he's doing. Really nice watercolor. So the second guy gets shot at. One of them decides to go high up on this tree and jump down through the roof, the thatched roof. I like that page too. And as he lands in the hut, you hear blam. And then the whole hut is gone. I don't understand actually what happened there. The whole hut explodes. And then the man in Snowman is scratched out. It's like he's trying to be funny. Here we have Snickers, That's Entertainment, written by Kevin Duane. Never heard of that guy before or since. And drawn by Mark Baudet, who we just saw finish up Cobalt 60 recently. And we see this robot flying through space. He's an entertainment robot. His memory stores over 32 million jokes, puns, and limericks. He can synthesize 4 symphony orchestras simultaneously. And he can even tap dance in zero gravity, thanks to a electromagnets. And he's proud of himself because he created his own joke. Not just his program. He went beyond his programming and he threw a cream pie at the ship's captain. And he stuffed me out the garbage disposal of the starship. Hell, I thought it was funny. That's kind of cute. So here we have an interesting story. So I assume before he died, Gene Day had this story, a plot for this comic. Maybe he started working on it. But I assume after he died, Doug Munch, his longtime collaborator on Master of Kung Fu, finished the script, finished the story, and his brother, Dan Day, drew it. Very much in Gene Day style. Dan Day was kind of like having a clone of Gene Day. And this story is called The Champion. It's kind of, I don't know about this story. It's kind of a little pretentious. And there's this wizard, he's got this maiden captive. Apparently he abducted her from her wedding ceremony. So her groom, her thwarted groom, is this knight, and he's heading towards this castle to rescue his lady love. But all of the captions and the dialogue are just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of pretentious. Very overwrought. He fights a dragon. And he makes his way into the castle. Look at this amazing art by Dan Day. This is why his poor brother died at a young age. He worked himself to death. Seems like Dan Day is following in his footsteps. Just every line on every brick of this castle. All the statuary. Just nuts. But it's amazing. I'm glad he's doing it. I just hope he doesn't die. So yeah, more threats, more these skeleton guards right out of Ray Harryhausen attack him. Really nice. This is why black and white art sometimes is just, everyone loves color, but sometimes black and white art really does the trick. I like this right here for some reason. I don't even know what's going on. I think he's casting a spell on these weird circles. But then the knight runs him through. The wizard basically asked him to. He just said, take my life. And this lightning hits him. And it's almost like this is what the wizard wanted. And so basically, the knight rides off with the maiden, but part of the knight is now the wizard? I don't know. It's just nice art, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, man, here we go. This is almost the opposite of this story. This is like barely a story. And definitely not pretentious. Johnny Bad Hair. And we just see this guy, Johnny Bad Hair, and these captions are just people who probably were onlookers describing him. His problem probably chemical. Like he was really pissed off, irrational, out of control. Looks like he's moshing it up Albany style here. I like this. It says, no studs, no leather, no hair dye. Maybe he's not a punk. Maybe he's just an asshole. So he punches this thing, this cylinder, and it kind of awakens it, and it turns into this crazy, weird robot that attacks him. The machine farted steam, split, unbuckled, unfolded, like some cheap Japanese toy. Kind of like that language. It's just Johnny Bad Hair is just in a constant state of mania. He's, I don't know, maybe an overdose of adrenaline or something. So he destroys the robot. I just love that, man. Yeah, obviously, like I said earlier, owes a lot to Liberator. And then he kind of screams in victory. Looks like the Incredible Hulk there. And then the last panel is him just doing this. Just so odd. I fucking love this comic, though. I remember loving it as a kid. I was just like, what the hell was that? I mean, the art's beautiful. So I love his painted colors. Just nice stuff. But I just loved how silly it was. And gonzo. And there you have it. The second to last issue of Epic Illustrated, number 33. So I hope you enjoyed looking at it as much as I did. Like I've told you guys before, I probably haven't seen this in 30 years. I haven't cracked this open because I never needed to. I knew I was never going to sell it, so I didn't have to review it to see if it goes on the sell pile. I just was like, fuck no, I'm keeping Epics forever. And I'm glad I did because I haven't regretted saving these all this time. I've probably moved my comic collection 8 times in my life. That's a lot of lifting and annoying shit. And I think I've mentioned this before, but because of my comic collection, I can't live in a small place. I have that many comics. I can't get a little studio. I have to get at least a nice size 1-bedroom. So when I consider that all these years, how much money I've thrown away for rent because of my comics, it's almost like taking care of a kid, you know? It costs money to maintain a comic collection. But yeah, that's it. Epic 33. And yeah, I guess in like 5 episodes, we're going to see the last issue of Epic. So I'm going to have plenty of hankies ready. And it's going to be bittersweet, I tell you that much. But thanks for watching. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.